Hi there. This clip aims to briefly summarise key features of the TrackHawk User-Interface. First thing to notice is that the TrackHawk application sits atop Google Maps. This allows us to build on all the neat tricks that Google has developed over the years. Another advantage here is that there will be a certain amount of familiarity for anyone who is using TrackHawk for the first time. There are two main features of value in the context of TrackHawk: being able to drag the background map as required, and also the ability to zoom with the mouse wheel or with pinch gestures on a touch device. Even though the available zoom levels are quite amazing, we needed to supplement the display with a custom zoom panel. Horses can be positioned by clicking anywhere on the main map, and they will move to the point on the track nearest the click. If a more exact position is required, select a particular horse and that will locate as near as possible to the click position. As an example, let's select a focus on accelerator by clicking the appropriate item in the race control panel. Then zoom in and adjust the viewing area to suit. Notice that it is not necessary to click on the track itself to locate horses. Anywhere on the main map is okay. Sometimes it might appear that a repositioning is not occurring as expected. Most likely this is due to horses already being positioned at the limit of their travel. For example, horses cannot be moved backwards from the starting barrier. There are 4 areas that provide extra details for a race. Firstly, there is the race control panel where particular horses can be selected. If we choose a particular horse, that becomes highlighted in the zoom panel and also on the main map, thus making it easy to focus attention on specific areas of interest. The race control panel also includes buttons that control race animation. This is really where the excitement begins, and I'll go into more detail in a moment. Next, there is the zoom panel, which gives a dynamic representation of a horse's relative position in the field. The image pans so as to keep the selected horse centre stage. There is also provision for limited zoom adjustment. Horses can be selected either by using the legend in the race control panel as shown previously, or by using the icons in the race order bar immediately below the zoom panel. The statistics panel brings in numeric data related to each position on the track. We can have various options there. We can get race distance or distance from the rail, sectional times, etc. And you can compare, we can choose 2 columns there to compare a particular statistic against another one for each of the particular horses. The other display is the race information, which really gives you the sector times and the top 3 horses that were leading at that particular section. We notice that here we haven't actually raced to that point, but once the horses pass that particular marker, it gets highlighted and you can see where the order is there. So we're looking to see Moneyman leading, number 7, whatever that is, Insider. It's a little bit hard to see, they're overlapping here, but that gives you the drift of that. Now, one of the unique features of TrackHawk is its ability to replay a race much as you would with a video recorder. These controls provide play, fast forward, pause, rewind, and even play backwards for what it's worth. I'll press play with race call audio switched on to illustrate. The little speaker icon at the top right of screen is used to switch the race call audio on or off.
In front, inside a second, accelerated 3 deep, no cover. Modesty still travels keen with the blinkers on and running to hold the spot. New command behind the speed. Tracking them 3 deep, but he's got covered. Cheeky Lad, followed by Super Gold Master Power Key. The Scouter a bit awkward and Iron Speed still hanging out badly. On the corner, 450 out. Moneyman in front of Insider.
Notice how the audio is synchronized no matter what position on the track we choose to start the animation. There are a few peculiarities related to the technique used to capture the data we are using. At the end of a race, more often than not, the pack would head for the hills. No cause for alarm for anyone in the implied flight path. Suppose we wanted to see the race finish and we were particularly interested in the horse Modesty. Select Modesty in the race control panel, position the horses a little before the finish line and press play.
Speed staying on bravely, but away goes Moneyman at 1.8. This is far too easy. Moneyman 5 in front. Modesty kicking hard, clearly holding second. Great go for third. Accelerator just in front of Cheeky Lad, who...
And you get the idea that there's the winning horses. Modesty came second in the scheme of things, and the order of the rest of the horses are listed there in the box, as well as the ability to watch the race replay. We can actually see the position the horses have taken on the track in a tracing the path. Let's say we're still interested in Modesty and we want to see the path it took, and we click the highlight the little coloured check boxes in the race control, and you can see the various paths that the horses have taken. They're not always as expected. If we take a look at Great Performance, somewhere about here it lost the plot, and that can be possibly caused by bad data, or it may also be due to loss of plot. Now I'll just replay that briefly to show what Great Performance is up to.
The blinkers on and running to hold the spot, New Command behind the speed. Tracking them 3 deputies, got covered Cheeky Lad, followed by Super Gold Master Power Key. The Scalder a bit awkward and Arnold Speed still hanging out badly. On the corner, 450 out. Moneyman in front of Insider. Modesty's going for an inside hole.
So that gives the idea that Modesty went wrong. There's an undocumented feature that we have that is perhaps more of interest to developers than users, but we can actually look at the errors that have been produced during the race in the data capture, and that gives you a live a dynamic display of where the errors are wherever you are on the track. Now early on the Great Performance was fine, but as you get on down the track you can see the error rate climbed. So that's just a little aside. It's obtained by clicking on the little indicator bar at the bottom of the statistics panel. Now we can remove the overlays either by clicking on the appropriate action in the menu bar, or to remove individual overlays, click a coloured checkbox a second time and the overlay disappears. There are additional charts built in here. If we click on the top chart icon under statistics, we can bring up a little picture of how the horses were doing for speed during the race. If we're only interested in comparing the speed of particular horses, we can just click the checkboxes in the race control, and they will be the only ones highlighted for the speed. This again shows that Great Performance struck trouble around the 600 metre mark. As well as that, there's also an experimental utility we have which calculates the energy a particular horse has spent during the race. There's a lot of work and research to get value from this, but I think it conveys the idea. It does relate partially to there is a sense that it does relate to the data, because again, focusing poor old Great Performance, it didn't spend a lot of energy after it got halfway, and that shows up in energy graph. There's It's as expected, there's not a huge difference in those, but to the keen-eyed punter, those subtle differences could be quite important. Just clear those overlays. Now we have about 30 races archived for the two racetracks in Hong Kong. So let's choose another racetrack and see what we've got here. This is Happy Valley. We can. What's interesting about Happy Valley? Perhaps it illustrates best by looking at the paths the horse have taken. It's actually, there are places on the track where the horses pass by twice in a particular race. So to select, in that case, we leave the mouse in a constant position and see that the lap counter changes depending on, just click without moving the mouse and it changes the context of the race. So if we're interested in seeing the finish line and how it plays out, I'll press play.
Shanghai King, Sam Boy, but Fortune Boy's home and hosed. Fortune Boy beats Shanghai King, Sam Boy in third, followed up by Victory Start, then Carrizo Creek made too much of him early.
And there's the detail for the finish of the race. That about covers the basics of the interface. Much of this information is available on our website at TrackHawk.com, where there is also an opportunity to experiment with the features we have demonstrated here. Thank you for your interest in TrackHawk.